you ever been in a place where you're stressed, you're messed up, everything is just not working right, and somebody says something to you and you respond, and 5 or 10 minutes later, the perfect response actually comes? Oh, I should have said this, or I should have been this way, or why couldn't I have thought of this 5 minutes earlier? This is something that happens when we get trapped in our non-resourceful place. Ego kind of takes over, and we work from a fight or flight place. In that place of fight or flight, we actually get into a spot where we're not able to access the different resources that we have. So the trick on that is to create a space within that fight or flight where we can go to grab our resources, so that we can actually literally take a deep breath, invite the light, and then be able to respond from a resourceful way. The trick is to actually take that deep breath in that place when you're feeling the most unresourceful. We have the resources, we have everything we need within us to be able to respond at any given place or time. Go back and think about how you would have handled the situation if you were to be in it again. One of the benefits of doing that, of going back and rehashing the situation, is because then you build your resources for the next time. So it's kind of like giving yourself an actual do-over, in the sense that you are able to feel the feelings of having a successful outcome. And having that successful outcome then primes you for in the next time that you're in that place, it's not such a fight or fight place, because you've already imagined the successful outcome, you've already experienced the successful outcome, and so therefore it's not new territory. So the action then is to look back on something that happened today, a place where you didn't respond properly, where you're not happy with the way you responded, where perhaps love wasn't the core of the way that you acted. Maybe you allowed yourself to get worked up in the situation, and go back into that place. Take yourself there in a meditative state. Just kind of close your eyes and take a deep breath. And think back to that moment when you weren't your best. Remember yourself there. Remember the person that you were with. Remember the things that you were doing. And remember the things that they said and the things that you said. And now I want you to play through it in your mind, and then I want you to rewind back to the beginning. This time, as you go back to the beginning, and before you hit play, I want you to imagine the outcome that you desired from that interaction. So imagining the outcome that you desired from that interaction. Think to yourself, how did I get there? Now, knowing how you got there, I want you to now hit record, and I want you to replay that scene. Going back to the beginning, coming into contact with the person that you were in contact with, communicating with them. Only this time, when they say what they said, I want you to respond in the way that in your heart you know that you can respond, that is going to bring love and the outcome that is for the best, highest good of both of you. And going through that, having that interaction, allow yourself now to get to the end of the interaction. Now I want you to feel the feeling of success that you actually handled that interaction the way that where you were in your power. This is taking 100% responsibility. Personal responsibility, because you are ultimately responsible for absolutely everything that happens in your life. Everything. it may not, this doesn't indicate that it's your fault. What this indicates is that it's your responsibility. The way that you attracted it into your life, the way that you responded to it, the way that you perceived it, the way that you ruminated on it, the way that you did your time machine all day long, going back to it and reliving that over and over and over again. By taking 100% responsibility, you then step back into your power. You go back into the time machine, you're rehashing it anyways. You might as well go back into the time machine and make the outcome be the way that you want the outcome to be. And building that up, you're building yourself a repertoire, something to reach for every single time that you have a desire to run away and get into that fight or flight place. So take responsibility for the situation, own your part in it. That doesn't mean, oh, but if he hadn't, or if she hadn't, or, well, they were fighting. If they hadn't been fighting, then I wouldn't have had to raise my voice. Or if they had listened to me the first time, then I wouldn't have had to yell at them this way. If they hadn't dumped that water, then I wouldn't have reacted the way that I reacted. Personal responsibility is saying, I'm in control of myself. I am responsible for myself. What is the trigger that I have that took me back and got me into that caveman persona that I was in that moment? And how do I become the me that I truly am? How do I embrace my divinity? And how do I let that shine? So add that to your repertoire. Go back and think about any situations that you've had where you can go back in your time machine, go back and relive the situation, only relive it as if you got the outcome that you wanted. And then I want you to give all that energy to that outcome that you wanted. And I want you to figure out, what lessons have I learned? And what do I need to do moving forward so that I can be the best me that I can be? Lots of love.